What is up, guys? It is your boy Alex, aka Explorer, and I got my boy Brandon, aka BBG. Say what's up.
Yes, sir. What's up, boys?
What is up? All right, so before we start the UFC on ESPN card with Ngannou versus Cain as the main event in Phoenix. Before we start talking about our picks and predictions on that, I'm going to do a quick recap of our last card. So we went out of the 12 fights, we agreed on what was it? We agreed on 10 of them, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, we went 10 for 10 on the picks that we both agreed on. So we're batting 100 on fights we agree on. And I got one fight wrong, and he got one fight wrong. I was wrong on the Ronnie Yaya fight. I had Ronnie Yaya, and Ricky Simone just tooled on him. And then what fight were you wrong on? Crute and
Jimmie Crute, Sam Alvey. Yeah.
Yeah, he had Sam Alvey in that one. I had Crute. But so together we're 10 for 10 on picks we agree on, and then individually we're both 11 for 12. So we're almost perfect right now. But let's get into this card. We got to start off. We got Alexandra Albu versus Emily Whitmire. Alexandra Albu is a slight favorite. So Alexandra Albu, I don't really think she is the most technical fighter. A lot of it is just like going forward and just like pressuring her opponent into the clinch and looking for like a throw or a sweep or a trip or something like that. She's very physical. She's like very, very physical. She's extremely strong. She looks like a bodybuilder almost. I think Whitmire might be a little bit better than her, despite what the odds say and their records say and stuff. I think Whitmire might be a little bit better than her, especially on the mat. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think Albu has like a gas tank problem too. So I wonder. And whenever a fighter has a gas tank problem, it's always like late in the second round or the third round is when it starts to show, usually. And if Whitmire can just survive, which she should be able to, because this fight doesn't really strike me as a fight that'll finish inside the distance. So if Whitmire can survive, Whitmire might be able to edge out a decision. But I mean, as Alexander Albu is so green, but so is Whitmire, man. Whitmire's green. I'm gonna lean Alexandra Albu by a decision. She'll probably win rounds 1 and 2. That's how I'm gonna go. I'm not fairly confident on it, but with such a limited tape of both fighters, I'm gonna play the odds a little bit and play the physical tenacity and pressure that Albu brings, and the amount of offensive production, the significant strikes she throws. She got 5 takedowns in one of her fights. She threw like over, I think it was like 116 significant strikes in one of them. Like she just has so much, and just that alone could be enough to beat someone as inexperienced as Whitmire. So I'm gonna pick Alexander Albu by decision. How do you feel about it?
So in this fight, Emily Whitmire's coming off a win, I believe by decision from Jamie Moyle. And in that fight, it was really like Emily Whitmire just controlling her on the mat and everything. And she has a really good BJJ game, which I think is going to play a big factor in this. Albu's really good with takedowns, controlling people off their back. But Emily Whitmire is going to have to fire submissions off her back, whether it's triangles, arm bars, things like that, and hope to catch Albu in the scramble. I see this being a finish on either side if either side wins, actually. I'm going to go Emily Whitmire by second round sub, though.
Really? Okay. It's a good pick. Yeah. With that prediction though, Albu has a submission in one of her UFC wins too. So you're right. Maybe it could just be a battle for the submissions. And if it is that, like I said earlier, I think Whitmire is better on the mat. But we'll see.
I do remember Emily Whitmire actually getting subbed by, I believe it was Montana De La Rosa, by armbar in The Ultimate Fighter.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Maybe she learned from that. All right. What's the next fight?
It's Luke Saunders and Renan Barao.
Yeah, you can start us off with this one.
So it seems like they're trying to like put Renan Barao with someone, I guess, like more or less a skill level now at this point.
Yeah.
I remember Renan Barao back in his heyday when he was a world leader, you know. But I think that was a lot of the TRT and everything else that was going around in those days. He was unstoppable.
Yeah.
But he's on a pretty bad fight losing skid right now. But this is a winnable match for someone like Renan Barao.
Mm-hmm.
When against Saunders, who's very green on the mat. His grappling isn't very good. And one thing you can take from Barao, he's still very skilled in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. As he should be, you know, with his experience and everything. And he's not very old either. He's still pretty young. So I think if Barao can find a way to get this to the ground, that'd be his best option. But if this fight stays on the feet, Sanders is going to win, and there's not a doubt in my mind about that. Barao doesn't have much of a chin anymore, and he's very slow with his strikes, it seems like now. And he does have a big gas tank problem and missing weight. So we'll see how that plays into effect, too. In the end, I'm probably going to go Barao. I'll go Barao by submission here. I think he'll be able to take Sanders to the ground.
Really?
Yep.
All right. It's kind of where I'm leaning. I don't know if I'm gonna pick him to finish, but so my my take on Luke Sanders, man. If Luke Sanders fights a turkey sandwich, I'm gonna pick the turkey sandwich, man. I do not like this guy. I just don't see it. I don't know why he's still in the UFC. His last fight that he had, I believe, was against Patrick Williams or Alan Williams, something like that. He looked so bad, and that was against a complete trash can. He looked so bad. Luke Sanders, he has good takedown defense. His jiu-jitsu is definitely in question to some extent. His striking, though, man, he got rocked by Ronnie Yaya his last fight. It's hard to get rocked by. You got to try to get hit by him. I mean, he got rocked by Ronnie. He was getting rocked by Patrick Williams. He was getting taken down by Patrick Williams. He is just not good. Renan Barao, he might not be the greatest right now. I get that. But the people he's losing to are better than the people Luke Sanders is losing to and fighting and stuff like that. Renan Barao has a gas tank issue. But that first round, maybe early in the second, he's dangerous. His last fight against Andrea Ewell, he had a submission locked up. He just couldn't finish it. And if he gets that same submission on Luke, I'm telling you, man, Luke is a quitter. Luke will tap. I've watched every single one of Luke's fights, unfortunately, and I'm trying to tell you, there's just something with him that just I can't quite put my tongue on it. He seems to me more like an athlete than a fighter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the fight in him. He doesn't have the fight IQ. He doesn't have really anything. I just feel like he's not a good fighter. He's in the UFC. Props to him. But, man, I think Renan Barao is plus 155 dog. I'm not going to bet that. But if someone bet that, I wouldn't call them an idiot for doing that at all. Luke Sanders is garbage. Every fighter, I'm pretty accurate when I say a fighter is garbage. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna lose that fight that I'm talking about. This guy is not good at all. Renan Barao, right now, he is not good. But I'm telling you, I think he's gonna win a decision. Luke Sanders. I think this fight's really gonna be dependent on the striking, who can win the striking exchanges. And Luke Sanders, he has some power with his left hand, but his pace is so slow. He doesn't fire a lot, and when he does, it's 1 to 2 shots. It's not big combos or anything. He doesn't really mix it up either. It's only just punches to the head. So I'm gonna lean Renan Barao, and I'm going to say by decision. I do not think Luque is good at all. So we both got Renan. All right, what's your next fight? What's the next fight?
The next fight is it's Penne and Esquibel are fighting next.
Esquibel.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right.
Esquibel.
So Jessica Penne and Jodie Esquibel. I don't. Of course, I've watched tape on them. Of course, I've seen their fights. Jodie Esquibel's last fight, I believe, was a loss to Jessica Aguilar. Jessica Aguilar is pretty much a dinosaur at this point. And I think she landed 7 takedowns on her. I'm pretty sure it was 7. So Jodie is not good really anywhere. I don't think she has good striking. I don't think she has good wrestling. I don't think she has good jiu-jitsu. I don't think she has good pressure, pace, none of that. Jessica Penne, her last fight was actually almost like 2 years ago, so that's concerning.
Very.
And she's taken some TKO losses at this weight class, which is also concerning. But it was against Kovalchevich and Jędrzejczyk, so I don't really count those. She has takedown upside. In her last 2 wins, could be wrong. Her last 2 wins, she's averaging 3 takedowns per win.
Huh.
And if, in theory, if she could land 3 takedowns in this fight as well, or even 2, I believe that'll help her win, because I don't think Jodie does anything that'll help her win rounds, really. She kind of just is a sitting duck. Jodie's takedown defense can be good at times. I'm going to lean Jessica Penne by decision. This is going to be one of the fights where you walk in the other room and you get your food ready for the next fight. Like, it's going to be one of those. I'm going to lean Jessica Penne, though. It's not going to be fun. I'm not entirely confident, but that is my pick. Go ahead.
So I think you give a pretty good breakdown. I guess just to add on to that, I see Jodie really winning this on the feet. And if Jessica wants to win this fight, she's going to have to take her down and land takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jodie's known to have decent cardio too. So I'm kind of leaning on that and for her to stay on the outside and just get in and out. And, just kind of like not even like land heavy strikes on Jessica Penne, but just kind of like touch her up, enough to get like a decision win. And that's what I'm going to go with.
You're going to go with Jodie Esquibel?
Yes, by decision.
Yeah, that's... Man. That fight is not... I'm not looking forward to it.
No, that's
I love
a toss-off.
I love MMA. I love watching all fights, but that's going to be one where it's going to be a little bit harder than other fights to watch.
Man, but it's those fights sometimes that end up being some of the best ones that you don't expect.
That is true. Let's see. The next fight, we got Nick Lentz versus Scott Holtzman, I believe.
Yes.
So, did I start the last one, BBG?
I think you did, so I'll start this one.
Yep, go ahead.
So, with Nick Lentz and Scott Holtzman, Scott Holtzman, he's a pretty good wrestler. Dude. That's one thing you can definitely depend on in this matchup here. And his striking's coming along, I think, too.
Yeah, he's improving.
Yeah, and even his wrestling defense is pretty good. So I see this being another decision. There's probably going to be a lot of decision wins on this card, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And with Nick Lentz, I'm not sure exactly what to think of Nick Lentz yet, And Holtzman, I want to say he'll be able to hold him off and get a decision win against Lentz. That's what I'm going to go with.
You got Holtzman by decision?
I do.
All right. So, with this fight, Holtzman's last 2 fights, I think literally you can watch both of those and you can almost kind of tell that he's better than Nick Lentz already just by those two fights. I mean, I think he Holtzman is huge for this. Like,
Yeah, he is.
wait till fight night. He is huge, and this fight's at what, lightweight?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna be about 180, 185. I promise you, he will be huge in there. He'll be massive. So, I think Holtzman is a better striker. I think he's a better offensive wrestler. I think he's a better defensive wrestler. I think he hits harder. I Nick Lentz isn't the worst striker in the world. Honestly, the only way, in my opinion, Holtzman doesn't win this fight is if either A, he gets rocked and knocked out, which I don't think Nick. I don't know if Nick has the power to do it, and I also don't think he has the technique to do it.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen. Or Nick, if you watch Nick Lentz, every time someone shoots on him, he shoots a guillotine up. Every single time, he will go for a guillotine. And Holtzman, he goes for a lot of takedowns every fight. So unless Nick, so basically, what I'm trying to say is, unless Nick can get a guillotine, I think Holtzman's going to win this fight almost 9 times out of 10. To be honest with you, I think Holtzman's just better everywhere. I think Nick is going to be surprised when he gets shot on for a takedown, and he's gonna have a hard time wrapping that guillotine up. I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people say, "Oh, his guillotine's deadly. His guillotine's dangerous." I think he only has one guillotine win in his last 15 fights, and that was like one. That was like a fight. That was his last fight, or maybe 2 fights ago, and it was against a complete trash can. And he was losing that fight until he got the guillotine too. So I can only imagine Holtzman was training to defend the guillotine or to avoid it completely. Instead of putting his head on the outside, he could put his head on the inside, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go Holtzman, and I'm gonna go by decision. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it ended inside the distance just by like ground and pound and like Nick can't move or something like that, or the ref has just seen enough.
Yeah.
So if you want to bet the inside the distance line, I think it's like plus 200, plus 250, something like that. I don't think that's the worst idea in the world if you're putting up a bunch of bets. But yeah, so I'm going to go Holtzman by decision.
Right. So let's move on to the next one. It's Andrea Lee versus Ashlee Evans Smith is our next fight.
This is my turn.
It's your turn to start.
Alrighty. So, Andrea Lee, I'm going to say it right now. She's overrated. Period. Overrated. Completely. Her only fight in the UFC, she didn't look great in my opinion. I will never understand why people go for head and arm throws at this level. Like, she went for it at least 3 times. I think she might have got it once or twice, but she's not going to be able to get it here probably. I think she's probably better everywhere, especially on the mat, because she is a Renzo Gracie brown belt. I think she's going to take it to the mat. Probably, I think she's going to land 2 to 3 takedowns. I think she's going to be advancing position quite a bit. I think she's going to learn. I think she's a smart girl. I really do. And Ashlee Evans Smith is, man, she's on that Luke Sanders level, man. She is bad. One of her most recent wins was like barely even a win. And it was a complete robbery. And other than that, she's like 1-5 or 1-6 as of recent, something like that. I think Andrea is better everywhere. It's just it's honestly just a simple case of, can she put it together? Because she didn't in her first fight as well as she could have. And if she doesn't do it again, if she doesn't put it together this second fight, I'm telling you, I really don't even think she's that good. I don't know why this line is so wide. But I am going to go Andrea Lee. And I actually think she's going to be able to get a finish by a submission or something from like a mounted position. Because I think the skill difference on the mat is so wide Like when a skill difference somewhere is so wide, there's a very high chance that the person who has the advantage in that skill area, if they can get it to that area, has a chance to finish. And Ashlee Evans Smith gets finished, and she's not good. So in theory, Andrea Lee should be able to style on her on the mat. But the question is, can she put the game plan together and actually get her on the mat? And I'm gonna say more than likely yes. So I'm gonna pick Andrea Lee. I'm actually gonna pick her to win by submission, and I'm gonna say the second round.
Okay. So this fight, I think Ashlee Evans Smith wants to bring Andrea Lee to the mat.
Really?
Andrea Lee's 2 losses came off of her getting held down on the mat.
That's a good point.
But here's the thing. Ashlee Evans Smith has a 27% takedown rate.
Yep.
27.
That's bad.
It's terrible. And Andrea Lee's a great kickboxer, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Ashlee Evans Smith landing many takedowns here. If she does get one, I think Andrea Lee can get back up to her feet. And she's going to pick her apart from her feet. I'm going to go Andrea Lee by decision.
Andrea Lee by decision?
Yes, sir.
And the next fight is Benito Lopez versus Manny Bermudez. This fight is going to be a scrap for as long as it lasts, I think.
Manny, the Bermudez triangle.
He's good. He trains in Boston or Mass.
Yeah, man. So these are both undefeated prospects coming up, too.
Yep.
So it's my turn to go first, right?
Absolutely.
So in this fight, it's going to be a real exciting one. This is one of the fights on the card I do see ending in a finish, though.
Me too.
Lopez is a super fun fighter to watch. And Manny Bermudez is he's super fun to watch, too. When it comes down to it, though, I think there's a big skill gap in one area, and that's in the grappling.
Yep.
I think Bermudez is just such a better grappler than Lopez is, and Lopez hasn't really been testing on the ground, you know? And he's so young. Both of these guys are. And I can see Bermudez, the way this is panning out, but Lopez might be getting the better of him on the feet. And then Bermudez landing a takedown and probably choking him out. I'm going to go Manny Bermudez here, second round sub.
Manny, second round sub?
Yes.
So, my take on this is like, Manny, I don't really think he's that great of a striker. And Benito is he's a talented boxer, man.
Absolutely.
He's a talented boxer. And I don't think Manny's been tested at all. He's 2-0. They have a win over the same guy, I'm pretty sure. The only difference is that Manny fought one more time. That's the only difference. And he fought a complete trash can in Davey Grant. And Manny hit him with a 1-2, dropped him, set up a mounted triangle, rolled to his back, locked in the triangle, and he put him out, put him unconscious. That was it. I think Benito would have knocked him out too. I mean, so in my opinion, they're the same, like with record and everything.
Yeah.
Manny Bermudez only has one takedown. He only got one takedown in his first fight. And Benito got one knockdown. So do you see where you see where I'm getting at? Like, it's a lot more than people think. Like, they're going 1 for 1 in every statistic I'm saying. And it's against the same guy too. Benito didn't finish him, but it's a lot harder to finish someone by knocking them out than it is by submitting them, in my opinion. I don't really know how Manny I don't really know how Manny wins his fight if you can't take him down. And we haven't really seen him against a good defensive wrestler. And Benito Lopez, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he trains at Team Alpha Male, and all they do is wrestle.
That's very true.
I'm just. I have a weird feeling this is going to be a classic case of a jiu-jitsu guy that just starts getting rocked and just starts shooting off instinct and getting stuffed, and then the guy circles back, and then he gets rocked again, and he just gets finished. Benito's crazy good, man. He's a might be 1-0, but that's a good looking 1-0. Same thing with Manny. That's a good looking 2-0.
Yeah.
I almost kind of wish they weren't fighting because I want to see them build themselves up more. Um, but somebody's got to get finished. Somebody's got to lose. I I don't know how I feel about Manny striking, and I think if he can't get a takedown or multiple takedowns, this fight he's gonna go to Benito.
Yeah. I can see that.
Um, I know my boy Brett Apley. He likes Benito as an underdog, but he's also biased because he knows him. A lot of people. Manny has an advantage on the ground. He's a black belt, a high level black belt actually. Benito, he's won a bunch of jiu-jitsu tournaments himself. He's not bad. I don't think Manny can just grab him and submit him.
Yeah.
I think it would have to really take there will have to be a lot of time on the clock.
I think a big thing of this, too, is how is Benito's conditioning going to play into this, too? Is he going to gas after the first round if it makes it that far?
Yeah, I think. Well, he went to decision his first fight. Manny's the one who actually hasn't been to the third round.
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to gas, I would assume it's the guy going for takedowns. And especially if he's getting beat on the feet and he's really forcing the takedowns. The more I think about it, the more I want to say Benito Lopez is going to win. And then I look at the odds. I say Manny Bermudez is going to win. I just, I'm going to go Benito Lopez because he's shown he can win a decision. He lands a lot of significant strikes. Manny Bermudez just hasn't really been tested, in my opinion. And I don't necessarily even think he's a guy that'll force takedowns. I think he's confident in his stand up, especially after his last win, which was he dropped him in the first minute.
Yeah.
But the way he dropped him was it was a 1-2, and that two came so long. It was halfway across the damn octagon. I just don't I don't think he can replicate that. I don't think he can do those things he was doing to the other two guys. So I'm gonna go Benito Lopez, and I'm gonna say a decision or a late finish.
Hmm.
Despite what the odds say, that's a plus 165 pick I'm giving up. Anybody
Yeah.
listen? Anybody listen? Come on, man. All right, what's the next fight?
I think it's Jimmie Rivera and Aljo.
Really? Is this your turn?
Yeah. So these guys have. It's going to be a big fight in the bantamweight division. The way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's a big fight.
Because I don't see Cody Garbrandt getting a title shot anytime soon.
No.
The situation between Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw is eventually going to play out, but also Marlon Moraes. So the winner of this fight, I think, is one more fight away from a title shot.
Eventually, yeah.
It's like a big stake in the bantamweight division here. And you have Jimmie Rivera, who is technical on his feet. He's technical enough at least. He's not very exciting, though. He doesn't have all that much power. But he's technical, and he's a fluid striker, Nothing comes up quick, though. That's the thing. Nothing comes up too quick.
Uh-huh.
And with Aljo, he's improving on his feet, but we all know what his game is. He wants to take you down. He wants to try to submit you. He's coming off a submission victory.
Yep.
And Jimmie Rivera's coming off a decision win over John Dodson. The thing with Jimmie Rivera is he doesn't finish people. It rarely happens. And Aljo's really a finisher. And the way it plays out two ways, in my opinion. Jimmie Rivera either wins by decision or Aljo gets a submission. Now, when you look at Aljo trying to bring this to the ground, Jimmie Rivera has 100% takedown defense, but he hasn't been tested against like great wrestlers.
Exactly.
People like Uriah Faber have tried taking him down, right? But it's like the great skill level wrestlers in there. But he's proven to have good defensive wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, and I really like Aljo. I think it's going to be a boring fight, as in my opinion, most Jimmie Rivera fights are.
Yep.
And Jimmie Rivera is probably going to win by decision. But I would not be surprised if Aljo was able to take him down and submit him. But I'm going to go with Jimmie Rivera by decision.
That's fair. Yeah, I like what I've been seeing out of Aljo. He really knows how to work his jab. His wrestling, people don't realize how good his wrestling is defensively and offensively. It is very good. People do not realize that. I don't think this is going to be a finish. I think it's going to be a decision. And I want to bet money that Rivera gets taken down at least once this fight. I think he will be. I think he'll be taken down probably.
Yeah, I can see that.
Rivera, I believe, has better fight IQ. And I think another statistic about this fight, Aljo's reach advantage that he always has over people is not that big in this fight at all.
Yeah.
I think it's like maybe 3 inches, not even. I don't know. It's not that big. It's not going to be enough to like jab him, just circle, jab, circle, jab. He can't do that this fight. He has to. I think he really has to throw some power at Jimmie. I don't think Jimmie's going to get knocked out. I don't think he'll be taken down enough and outstruck enough to lose a decision. The only way Aljo can probably win this fight, in my opinion, is to submit him. And that's a tough task.
It is.
And that's not likely. It's hard to bank on someone getting like one way of finishing somebody, especially when they don't submit like every single person. If it did go to the mat, I don't think Aljo can just wrap him up and submit him. I don't think that's likely. I'm gonna lean Jimmie by decision. I see a lot of people picking that, and I'm starting to agree with it now. Aljo, when he strikes, I feel like all he does is just jab. He doesn't really do anything else but jab.
Yeah.
And he's not good at taking control of the octagon either. The best I've seen him striking was probably against Brett Johns. That's the best example I can give you. And he smoked Brett Johns. Perry just smoked him. But the same Brett Johns, this is way more. This is way more than Brett Johns. Let's not forget, Cody Stanman was giving Aljo trouble in the clinch and in the pocket. He was giving him a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
Cody Stanman almost won that fight if he didn't get fucking world starred with that submission. I'm going to go Jimmie by decision. I think he's just a little bit better everywhere except the grappling game. And even if he does get taken down once, maybe even twice, I think he'll get right back up. He's very defensively sound when it comes to grappling and submission defense. And I think it should be enough to get him a decision.
I like that.
Have Pedro and Jimmie fought each other yet?
Pedro Munoz and Jimmie Rivera?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me take a quick look.
Because if they haven't, after Cody knocks Pedro's lights out, probably going to say that should be the next fight.
I agree to some extent. Yeah, that'd be a good matchmaking. Pedro Munoz. Yes, he did fight him. He won by split decision. November 7th, 2015.
Yeah, sounds like Jimmie. All right, split decisions. The next fight we have is. You got it?
Yep. Next fight we got. It's Andre Fili and Myles Jury.
Ooh.
Andre
All right,
Fili
is
and
it my
Myles
turn?
Jury. Yeah, your turn to go first.
All righty. So, Andre Fili and Myles Jury. Andre Fili at dog money. So, Myles Jury, man, he's like 70 years old in terms of fight years. He's been fighting forever. And his only 3 losses are to good competition, but like, it's kind of concerning that every time he fights good competition, he doesn't look good. He was on a roll for a while. He's also really inactive, but he was on a roll for a while. And Chad Mendes comes off the couch and just sleeps him in the first.
Yeah.
Like that's concern. Like you can't compete at all. Like there was no competition. Chad Mendes just bum rushed him, hit him with a left hook, and that was it. He looked like he shouldn't have been in there. Myles Jury does not have good takedown defense either. Yeah, he's a black belt, blah, 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 blah. Black belts don't mean anything if you can't even defend a takedown. Because if you defend a takedown, you can start setting up submissions off of that. Like he can't defend a takedown. He doesn't hit with power. He's not super aggressive. And he's been fighting for so long, and I can say this confidently. Like I can say all these things confidently because he doesn't change. And he has a lot of tape. Andre Fili, his last fight against Michael Johnson, I personally believe that was a robbery.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He was taking down Michael Johnson. He was lighting him up. He was controlling the cage, being more aggressive, hitting harder. I think Andre Fili is going to get in Myles Jury's face, and I think he's going to win a decision. I think he's going to take him down. I'm going to say 2 times. I'm going to say he's going to take him down 1 to 2 times. Probably not get threatened with a submission. And yeah, I think Andre Fili is better than Myles Jury. Period. That's it. I think he's better. I think he's going to win this fight, especially after how he's been looking recently. How about you?
So I do agree with most statements you made. Myles Jury is like a gatekeeper. And I think Myles Jury is dangerous in some aspects. But he's not dangerous to anyone who's like top like 10-ish, you know?
Right.
You're in that area, you're safe from my Myles Jury.
Exactly.
Andre Fili doesn't like I don't even know what to say about him. Like he's an awkward striker in my opinion. He has okay takedowns. It's not something he relies on. He took down Michael Johnson because you always take down Michael Johnson. Not many people win stand-up wars against Michael Johnson, especially that was at 55. At 45, he seemed to lost power too.
Yeah.
But Andre Fili doesn't have much power or anything. So I think if he does beat Nick Lentz, no, not Nick Lentz, I'm sorry. If he does beat Myles Jury, that he's going to have to be able to strike at volume here. And Jury's thing is he doesn't throw much at all. He's not a big, he doesn't have much output as a thing. So I think Fili can kind of, lead his way in this one and just be the more volume striker here.
Yeah, exactly.
And get a decision.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. Myles Jury does not do enough. And when he does it, it's not effective.
His activity is definitely not high enough to beat someone like Andre Fili.
I do not believe so. The next fight is Bryan Barberena versus Vicente Luque.
Yep.
All right, start us off.
So, both of these guys have shown promise coming up. Who was Barberena's last fight against? It was
Ellenberger, right?
It was Ellenberger. You put him to sleep, but everyone's been putting Ellenberger to sleep. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock into that.
No. And Vicente Luque, he's been looking like a world leader too, to be honest, man.
Yep.
These are two guys who are trying to make names for themselves, and UFC really matched them together at a good time. Are both of these fighters undefeated?
No.
No, you are right. I got confused. You're right. But either way, the way Vicente Luque's been fighting recently, I just think he's going to be a bit too much for Barberena. I think he'll tag him up on the feet, and he'll probably end with like a submission.
Submission? Okay.
Yeah, probably round 1.
Round 1?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So my take on this is that they're a lot more evenly matched up than people think.
Oh, I absolutely do think, and I think these odds
These odds are wild.
They are wild.
If you're gonna bet this fight, I almost think it's like dog or pass.
Yeah.
Like Bryan Barberena, one thing he has an advantage in is the cardio. The cardio and the pace. Vicente Luque does not have a ton of pace. It's just when he hits you, it's very accurate and very hard. I looking at the records right now, just for references. The thing about Bryan Barberena is, he's gonna beat pretty much everybody that's not like super elite. His most 2 recent losses were Colby Covington and on Edwards, and he knocked Edwards down.
Yeah, both good wrestlers too. Notice.
Both very good wrestlers. Vicente Luque, he lost to Leon Edwards, and other than that, he's been finishing everybody. The people he's been finishing, he finished. What's his name? Jalen Turner. Knocked out Jalen on Turner's
debut. That fight now. He messed him up with ground and pound.
He beat Turner. Okay, Turner is not that great. He has a lot of losses on his record, especially from the regional scene. He knocked out Chad Laprise. Chad Laprise is not that great, in my opinion. He submitted Nico Price. Nico Price not that great. And then before that, he lost to Leon Edwards. And then he has one good win against Belal Muhammad. That is a solid win. I'll give him that. But besides Belal Muhammad, who is he really beat? I don't really see it.
True.
And Bryan Barberena, he lost to Leon Edwards. He lost to Colby Covington. But other than that, he's beating everybody. And he did lose to Chad Laprise. Yes, he did. Chad Laprise is a really good wrestler, too. But in that fight, he landed 94 significant strikes, and he got a takedown. And that was a while ago. That was in 2015. Chad Laprise has only gotten worse since that, roughly that time frame. So, if you compare who they've lost to and who they beat, it's almost identical. So I don't get why people are like, oh, Vicente Luque is going to knock out Barberena, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying he won't. I'm saying, why do people think it's guaranteed? This isn't Jalen Turner. This isn't Nico Price. This is a guy who has more cardio and who's also more aggressive. So, in my opinion, if Vicente Luque does not get this finish, I think he's losing this decision. I absolutely do. The way you beat Vicente Luque is you tire him out and you win decisions. His 2 losses in the UFC are by decision.
Yeah.
And they were both the good people, do not get me wrong. They absolutely were. But Bryan Barberena's were too. And he has a win. He submitted Sage Northcutt when Northcutt was doing well. He beat Warley Alves. He landed 120 significant strikes. Do you know how many that is? That is a ridiculous amount. I'll tell you one thing. If he lands 120 on Vicente is not winning that fight. Absolutely not. So, but you got to look at the odds. They're minus what? What is Vicente Luque? Minus 460, and fight doesn't go to decision, minus 165. So, personally, I think Vicente's overrated. But also, I don't think Bryan Barberena is the greatest fighter since MMA was invented. I don't think he's the best, but I think he's good enough to survive.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vicente has the cardio. Like, if Bryan Barberena survives the first 2 rounds, Vicente is not getting that 3rd round finish. I can almost guarantee you. And in terms of grappling exchanges, I believe Vicente is a better submission grappler, but I don't really. He took Leon Edwards down twice, so that's a good sign. Bryan Barberena, though, he can get takedowns too. He doesn't usually do them. He doesn't usually go for him, but he can. Bryan Barberena, with his volume of strikes, the more like I've always said, the more volume you have and the more you do with striking, the more likely you are to get knocked out.
Yeah.
The more exchanges you create, more like that, pretty much the higher chance there is for you to get caught in one of those exchanges, as opposed to you catching someone else. And if someone's getting finished, it's going to be Barberena getting finished, probably. So I'm going to look at the odds, and despite everything I said, I'm going to assume Vicente can either finish him or at least win 2 rounds. That's going to be what I'm assuming. But I'm going to say right now, do not be surprised when Vicente takes that L. Do not be surprised. You can look at odds all you want, but they're not. I mean, underdogs win every single card.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Vicente, and I'm actually going to go by decision. Now, next card. I'm sorry, not the next card. What's the next fight?
Gracie and Caceres.
This is my turn.
Yes, it is.
All right, now we got Alex Caceres and Kron Gracie. This is Kron's debut. He hasn't fought since, 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
He hasn't fought since 2016 in Japan against a bunch of trash cans.
And Risen. Or
Yeah.
Risen,
whatever. He's fighting Alex Caceres. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of Kron really quick. Do not go to the mat with him. And everything else, you should be fine as of right now, in my opinion. You're probably not going to get knocked out. You're probably not going to get chain wrestled, and you're probably not going to lose a decision to him. He's minus 280. I think that's a joke. Unless he can get it to the mat, that's pretty much like the worst line ever. Alex Caceres, he is not that great, but I think his movement is going to be a big problem for Kron. And I also think his jab and his variety of strikes is going to be crazy. Alex Caceres' fight IQ is horrible. So if he can just tweak that for this fight and bounce around the outside, work his jab, hit some leg kicks, I think Kron's going to be in for a long night. I'm telling you right now. But we're talking about one of the best submission grapplers to ever walk the planet. And Alex Caceres was getting schooled on by Jason Knight on the mat. Jason Knight's a decent brown belt, yeah, but man, he is not that great still. And that was a while ago. So I'm going to go Kron Gracie. I do think he'll get in his face. He does have the Diaz brothers in his corner for this fight, or at least Nate. I think Nate is smart enough to help him build a game plan to beat Caceres. I'm going to go Kron Gracie by first round submission, probably.
Round what submission?
Round 1. Yeah.
Round 1. Okay.
I think he'll put the pressure on him. I think they'll clinch. And I think Kron will get him to the mat. He might even dive for a leg and just start working from there. You never know with this guy. I think Kron will get exposed within his first 3 UFC fights. I think the second he goes up against a decent wrestler with a good jab, that's probably it. But I'm going to go Kron Gracie as of right now. I'm going to go Kron Gracie by first round submission. How do you feel about it?
So with Caceres too, he's a technical striker too when you look at it. He's also a wild striker. He throws crazy things.
Yeah.
He'll throw crazy kicks, crazy punches, spinning back fists, all these things. But when you look at his record, he loses a lot by submission.
Yep.
A lot.
Yep.
He's lost to Uriah Faber by submission. He's lost to Jason Knight by submission. You know, and it keeps on going on and on. There's a lot of submission losses on here. But he has a couple submission wins, too, so I'm not going to count him out entirely in that aspect. But what he really needs to do is keep this on the feet. And I think Gracie gives opportunities, too, to where he can keep it on the feet. Because Gracie will strike with you, unlike others who are really like this BJJ, like comply and like really focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
And his striking is not the best at all. It looks very amateurish almost. And
That's
it's wild. So there are definitely openings for Caceres to win this fight. And when you look at Gracie's opponent's records that he's fought, so like the last guy that he fought was a veteran. He had 36 wins, 13 losses. 4 losses by submission, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's really just a kickboxer. And then he fights another guy also in Risen. What is his? He's 3-1 professional.
Okay.
And he's also a kickboxer. So he's fighting really no one with any type of ground background, which is the same thing the UFC basically gave him here. But there's a big layoff also for Gracie, which we need to keep in mind. I don't know what he's been doing in his time off.
Yeah.
But there has been a layoff.
You know when the last time Caceres fought was? I don't know.
I don't know. Caceres last fought. 1 second.
July 6th of last year. That's a little bit too.
Yeah, that's some time off, but he kind of went too by split decision. So in this fight, though, I'm gonna go Gracie.
Yeah.
Probably by maybe like a second round submission. I think Caceres can like maybe defend it for a bit, but after a while, he's just gonna get tired, and that's gonna be his demise. He's gonna get control on the ground.
Yeah, that's fair. Alrighty. Next fight. Cortney Casey versus Cynthia Calvillo. You can start us off.
So with Cortney Casey and Cynthia Calvillo, I think a lot of people are counting Cortney Casey out here, including the odds makers.
Yep.
And I think it's kind of warranted here. There's not many threats she can pose to Calvillo, in my opinion. And we all know what Calvillo is going to do. She does what she does best. She's going to go for takedowns. She's going to take her down. She's going to try to submit her, which is how I see this ending for the most part. I probably want to go Cynthia Calvillo here, second round submission. And I talk like more on these fighters too, but as I'm coming to realize with a lot of these females too, there's not a lot of film to watch, especially against quality opponents.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So I think Cynthia Calvillo is a good. I don't even. She's a little bit past prospect now. She's just a good fighter at this point. She's she's not the best striker, but when you're that good at offensive wrestling and takedowns and submissions and all that good stuff on the mat, I think you can get away with it by not being the best striker. Cortney Casey is I don't think she has better striking, but I think she uses her range somewhat well, and I think she can hold Calvillo off for a little bit. And Casey's last fight, I actually forget who it was against, but she didn't. I think it was Angela Lee. Maybe she actually didn't look that bad, like at all. But her takedown defense is pretty atrocious, just overall. And it'd be different if this was like Emily Whitmire fighting Casey. I would say Casey could probably defend those takedowns. But this is a fighter who specializes in takedowns and then working for a submission. In every single one of Calvillo's fights, she gets a takedown. Her last fight, she got 2. The one before that, she got 1. The one before that, she got 2. The one before that, 1. The one before that, 1. And a win that I like to see from Calvillo is actually a win over Joanna Calderwood, who has very solid BJJ.
Yeah.
Not the best striking, but she landed 2 takedowns on her. She advanced position twice, got a decision win. Cortney Casey can actually like defend ground transitions like pretty well. So I like that sounds good to me. That she can defend. She can't defend the takedown, but she can make sure you're like stuck in her guard or her top or like her top half guard. Like she's not going to let you advance position a lot. And Cortney Casey, her last 4 fights, she landed 1 takedown. So she will not be bringing it to the mat. It'll be the other way around. She advanced position once on Hill, advanced position once on Watterson, but that's not really impressive to me, you know?
Yeah.
One thing I do like from Cortney Casey is her last 2 wins. She landed 111 significant strikes in one of them against Angela Hill, and Hill is a somewhat decent striker to some extent. And she landed 103 significant strikes on Jessica Aguilar, who was going for takedowns the whole time. So, but a fight I like to look at for reference, though, is Claudia Galdeja. She only landed 22 significant strikes. So anytime she's outmatched, it's almost like she doesn't do anything. Not a thing. She's 8-6 professionally. That's not good at all. Calvillo's 7-1, and that decision loss she had was actually pretty close. The thing I like about Calvillo is she advances position a lot. Her last 3 fights, 2 advances each fight. Fight before that, 4 advances. Fight before that, 2 advances. She gets a takedown. She advances position. Her significant strikes aren't really that high, which is somewhat concerning. Because I think she'll have to strike a little bit better to get inside and just get rid of the reach advantage that Casey has. The thing about Casey is though, she stays against the fence the whole fight. Like she will bounce around the outside, and that when you're against the fence, that is a wrestler's like dream come true.
Absolutely.
And I think Calvillo will. I don't think they'll be like brute force takedowns, but I think they're going to be like trips on the cage, kind of. And I see Calvillo actually advancing position, despite the fact that Casey doesn't really allow it. Casey has those long soccer legs from when she played soccer in college. She's strong. She's a brown belt from some Gracie school, I believe. Could be wrong on the school, but I believe she's a brown belt. Calvillo is like a blue or purple belt, a Team Alpha male. But that blue or purple belt from Team Alpha male, she makes it look like a brown or black belt sometimes.
Yeah.
But her jiu-jitsu is going to be tested heavily against Casey. I don't think Casey's going to submit her. I don't think Casey's going to knock her out. I highly doubt Casey wins by decision. I think Calvillo could easily win by decision. I think Calvillo could submit her. So, as you can see, with all the possibilities I'm giving you, I'm going to lean Calvillo. I'm not super confident this fight she will get a submission just because Casey's specialty is jiu-jitsu and she's actually a higher rank than her in jiu-jitsu. But it doesn't always mean it's good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. I'm gonna go Cynthia Calvillo, and I'm gonna go by decision.
Okay.
Ooh, that was a lot of talking.
Only 2 fights left, too, on the co-main event.
All right, is this next one yours?
Yeah, I believe it is. No,
Okay.
actually, it's yours to go first.
Oh, you're right. It is mine. Alrighty. So we got James Vick and Paul Felder. James Vick, the slight favorite. This fight's projected to go the distance. I see a lot of people leaning James Vick to outpoint him for 3 rounds using his range and kicks and just bouncing around the outside. But I kind of notice that every time someone gets in the pocket on him, he has the classic tall man defense. I've been hearing that a lot on top of noticing it myself. So what the tall man defense is when you like extend your arms and you lift your head all the way up, almost like you're kind of looking at the ceiling as you're backing up. And it's just a natural reaction to getting someone away from you. And if you're long, like Vic, you can get away with it sometimes. But I think Felder, he needs to step up the aggressiveness, like badly. He is just so unaggressive sometimes. If this turns into a scrap, I'm definitely going to favor Felder to win. Actually, maybe even by knockout. Because Vic, his last fight, he showed that that chin is not that great. And he has such a tough weight cut that after that weight cut, your chin cannot be that great. And Felder hits hard. He might not hit a lot, but he hits hard. And that's why I'm concerned that if he doesn't step up the aggressiveness, he won't win the fight in general. If this fight hits the mat, Vic, in theory, does have a jiu-jitsu advantage. He doesn't have a wrestling advantage, but he has a jiu-jitsu advantage. But ever since I saw Paul Felder defend like 2 or 3 submission attempts from Charles Oliveira and then get on top, reverse position, and then beat the shit out of him and then finish him, I'm not worried about Paul Felder getting submitted anytime soon. I like Paul Felder in this fight, even though he's an underdog. And I like him to actually win a decision.
Huh.
What are you?
So, in this fight here, Paul Felder's coming back down to 55 from 70, and both of these guys are huge 55ers.
Yeah.
Huge. James Vick's like what, 6'2", 6'3"?
He's 6'3".
And Paul Felder's just big for the weight class just in general. Both of these guys could easily be fighting at 170.
Oh, absolutely.
One thing I think is going to be the big deciding here, though, is Paul Felder, and he seems to have a new fire in him now, too. People think that, like, he's kind of putting fighting on, like, a back burner now, being a commentator.
Mm.
And he took that personally, especially at the open workouts, and saying, like, where his real motivation's at. Because if you remember, he broke his forearm against Mike Perry throwing that spinning
Yeah, in the
back.
first
That's
round.
why he's been out for so long.
Yep.
And he still fought through the whole fight. Dude, super tough. And with James Vick, he was on a good streak, a real good streak before running into someone like Justin Gaethje. And I think everyone knows now where James Vick's weakness is, and it's him. He can't be pressured. And when he does get pressured, his chin's straight up in the air.
Yep.
It's what happens. And standing in the pocket with someone like Paul Felder is not advised, especially with his Muay Thai skills and everything, too. I'm actually going to go Paul Felder first round knockout. I think he's going to pour it on James Vick in the first round.
Yep.
And it's just going to be over from there. Probably like a nice hook on the inside.
Man, I'd like to see it. Alrighty, so we're both going Felder as the dog pick.
Yes, sir.
Now, the main event, Cain Velasquez and Ngannou. I know you love Cain, so go ahead.
Cardio Cain, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a big AKA supporter in general, is my thing. I love DC. Habib's the man. Luke Rockhold, he's okay. He's like got it back and forth.
It's kind
Cain
of
Velasquez.
Yeah.
He's the OG of AKA. He was AKA when like King Mo was still around there, and Josh Thompson was still fighting in AKA. And so, with this guy here in this matchup of Francis Ngannou, it's a big thing of how's Cain going to look? Absolute huge playoff. We saw him in his last fight against Travis Brown, and I think that's the best Cain Velasquez we saw. If this is against a Travis Brown who wasn't completely withered yet either, he was coming off a big win streak.
Yeah.
And everything. And Cain was coming off a big layoff then, coming back to UFC 200. And he just lit up Travis Brown. Travis had no answers for Cain at all. And we all know what Francis Ngannou can do. And all he wants to strive for, he wants to land that one big power shot that's going to put your lights out. And Cain's been susceptible to that one time when he fought JDS. If you look at the fight against Curtis Blades and Francis Ngannou and Cain Velasquez and JDS, it's the same exact punch, but both of them got knocked out with. Both Curtis Blades and Cain Velasquez. Same punch thrown by JDS and Francis Ngannou.
Really?
So that's kind of concerning, especially since in the first round, I think Francis Ngannou has the capability to stuff a couple takedowns. He's really fresh in time, and he's a strong guy. You know he's been training a lot of wrestling here. And the thing is, how does Cain Velasquez get in and try to take Francis Ngannou down? Because unlike a lot of people like Curtis Blades, he was kind of shooting from a distance, not getting in so much. Cain's willing to trade with Francis Ngannou. I think he respects Francis' power, but he's not afraid of it. And that could be Cain Velasquez's downfall there. But I think if Cain does land a takedown, a single takedown, it's over. His ground and pound, his submission threat. This isn't Stipe Miocic on top of Francis Ngannou, who held him down for 5 rounds. I witnessed it live. 5 rounds the man held him down, but he couldn't finish him. And I think that's what's different about Cain. And even DC or anyone at AKA, they're finishers. And I think if Cain Velasquez gets him down, it's going to be a finish. I'm going to predict Cain Velasquez to win here. 2nd round TKO.
Yeah, that's fair. I really think Cain is better everywhere. It's just the one question we all have to have the answer to is he washed up? That's the question. That's the only thing that's making people not bet him is he washed up? If he's not washed up, I think people should bet him immediately. But if he is, man, he's gonna be in for a long night. He's gonna be waking up with his head twice as big tomorrow. The one thing I don't like about Francis that nobody talks about, as much power as he has, the man does not even have a jab. If he had a jab, I think he'd be way better. But he just
Yeah,
doesn't have a jab. And if you don't have a jab against Cain, you have to land a hook or an uppercut on him. And when he's moving side to side, forward, and extremely fast, shooting on you, it's probably it, man. I think if Cain wins this fight, oh man, I think he's gonna put up like a crazy highlight. I think Ngannou's gonna get fucked up, like bad.
absolutely.
He might get knocked out on the feet.
It's possible. Cain has the power to do it.
Absolutely, Cain definitely has power. I don't. Ngannou hasn't really faced anyone with power.
No, Stipe
Miocic doesn't have
Miocic
a lot
has
of power.
power too, but like he doesn't have like Cain type of power.
Yeah, of course. I think. I mean, with Ngannou, you're literally betting on him to basically knock him out early. It has to be early. It can't be late.
Absolutely.
I have to assume Ngannou's been working on his wrestling defense, maybe, just maybe a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and probably a lot of cardio. I've seen on his Instagram and stuff, and him being tagged in other people's pictures. He does a lot of cardio now. But I mean, I like Ngannou. I do think one day he has a real shot to be champion, especially after DC leaves. Because Ngannou's not that old.
No.
I think Ngannou has a legit shot to be a champion.
Yeah, he does.
It's just, is Cain? I'm telling you, like if Cain is washed up, you're gonna see it within the first 30 seconds. I think.
Absolutely.
But he's had so much time to prepare for this, and he has DC hyping up. DC wants him to win more than anyone else.
Yeah, DC said it's the best Cain Velasquez ever looked, you know?
Yeah, but how many people have said that though?
Yeah.
About it. That's everyone says that about everybody. I'm gonna go Cain. This fight is not going the distance. If this fight goes the distance, I know nothing.
Who knows? You know, Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis wasn't supposed to go to distance either.
Yeah, but I think Cain is going to get inside on him. I think it'll be hairy for an exchange or two before he shoots. And I actually think the first round is going to last a lot longer than people think. I think Ngannou's going to try to take the middle and make him shoot in open space
Yeah.
so he can hit him. Because if he's against the cage, it's way, way harder to knock somebody out when you're against the cage. If Ngannou's smart, he needs to take the middle and he needs to start firing off a jab like immediately. I think Cain will catch him somewhere, whether it be, I think he'll pressure him back against the cage, or he might even catch him with a shot. I don't think that's likely though. I think it's going to be takedown to position to a ground and pound finish, and I don't think he'll necessarily hurt Ngannou. I just think Ngannou won't be able to defend himself. So I'm going to go Cain by ground and pound. I don't know if I'm going to choose. I think I'm going to choose the first round.
Oh.
So Cain, TKO, round one. Ngannou will bounce back, though.
Definitely. I mean, after Cain Velasquez, who's really like a good wrestler in that division besides like DC and Curtis Blades, who you already beat. Everyone else is like a stand-up fighter for the most part.
Yeah. Ngannou will bounce back. Don't worry.
So, dude, I was just watching, and actually Bellator 215 has ended, and the main event ends in a no contest due to the first strike being thrown as a groin strike. He wasn't able to respond after the 5 minutes.
Well, I actually had a unit on that. I had a unit on Sergey Karnatov.
Yeah, no, Matt Mitrione kicked him right in the dick, dude. It's just a no contest.
Let's go back. All right. So those are our picks and predictions. Any who's your most confident pick?
My most confident pick here. Let me look at this card again. I think the most confident pick on this card probably has to be Gracie.
Okay, your most confident pick is Kron Gracie.
Yeah.
I believe my most confident pick is going to be Cynthia Calvillo. And now we got to choose one together. Who's our conjoined most confident pick?
What do you think about Scott Holtzman, actually?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I like Scott Holtzman.
Yeah.
All right, who's your least confident pick?
Least confident pick. I'm gonna go with probably Manny Bermudez.
All right, my least confident pick is probably Jessica Penne. And then together, our least confident pick.
Should it be Cain Velasquez for this, like, the knockout, like,
Yeah, I'm gonna go
power
Cain.
like Ngannou has?
Yeah, I'm going Cain. I need to see
definitely.
Cain fight at least
It's not
one.
even like it's just like not that competent, because like Cain should win this fight, but like Ngannou just has that like deciding factor in power.
Yeah, and even if you block a shot, it'll still hurt you.
Absolutely.
He has the hardest punch ever recorded. Man.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get into our DraftKings players, and then we'll finish it. So while he's loading up his DraftKings, I'm gonna give you my DraftKings play, and I'm actually gonna go with. I know this is gonna be kind of weird, but I'm gonna go Bryan Barberena because he's the cheapest guy. He'll help you fit in your extremely expensive picks. He's live for a decision win, and he has a lot of pace and output. So I think he's a great play, to be honest with you. But if you're playing double ups, I don't know why you wouldn't have him in there.
Yeah.
Who's your pick?
I want to go with Emily Whitmire, actually.
Emily Whitmire?
She's relatively cheap. She's priced at 7.6. And I think she has a good chance to get a sub here, too.
All right.
And even land like maybe a takedown or two. It's possible.
Absolutely. Albu gases, remember that. So those are two cheap picks. And then who's our conjoined DraftKings play?
It depends, like, what you're looking for here.
Someone just like, score high.
Yeah.
I don't know if the score will be the highest in the world, but in terms of safety, I like Calvillo a lot.
Yeah, I mean, she's priced high, too. And I think if you're looking for, like, something that's not priced, like, Andre Fili might be a good pick in there, too, to be honest.
Yep.
Because he's priced pretty cheap at 7.4, too.
Absolutely.
Even Paul Felder isn't that expensive at $8,200.
No, he's looking good. I think that this card isn't the best for DraftKings, in my personal opinion. I don't really like it. Especially if you're playing double ups and you're stacking the main event, then I especially don't like it. But I think it's too risky of a main event to not stack because this isn't going to go to a decision. Someone's going to get close to 0 points, you know? Like, someone's going to get finished fast. And if you don't have the winner, you're going to get burned. So I think stacking the main event is the move. And if you stack the main event, the other 4 slots you have to fill is just, they're not easy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So That's my DraftKings breakdown. But those are our picks and predictions. Most confident, least confident, and our DraftKings picks. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week we have what is it? UFC. It's I know it's what am I? Thiago
It's
Santos
Thiago
versus
Santos and Jan Bobolit or
Jan
whatever.
Blachowicz.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
yeah, definitely
So,
two strikers there.
yeah. So until next time.
Absolutely. Next week, next Friday.
Yep. Till next time, guys. See you.
See ya.